Rigby's Roads, Chapter 10, Solutions and the FBI. On the drive to the office, Yogi told Jack that he had already called Wheels earlier and told him what had happened. Yogi also said the three guys were members of the Devil's Thunder motorcycle gang, also known as the DTs. He could tell by the tattoos on their hands. They're 1%ers, Jack, the worst of the worst. They entered Jack's office building, and while they waited for Wheels, Yogi sat at Tompkins' desk and started playing with his computer. Jack went into the main conference room and approached the dry erase board and went to work, creating a relationship map of the current situation. He drew circles with events, listed all of the players' names and groups of names. The combinations included Billy and Wheels, Pesto and Latrell, Wheels in the Bag, Yogi and Wheels, Yogi and Jack. Then he listed all of the strange events, the burglar who broke in, Latrell's visit, Milo's delivery boy, Ronaldo Gonzalez, the bikers called the DTs, and Henry getting beat up. Now he drew connecting lines between some circles, using blue lines or green. Some lines had one-way arrows, others two-way. He made a timeline of events showing the proper sequence across the bottom of the board. When he stood back and examined the entire picture, he saw that he was connected to every group, and then he remembered there was another common denominator to the problem, the bag. Finally, he drew a picture of the bag on the board, since it was the bag that the DTs wanted from Henry. He circled the bag with big red circles. It was now time to get some answers from Wheels and learn the whole story. Wheels arrived, sat down, and looked at Jack's artwork on the board.
"Yeah, what's up, Doc?"
he mimicked in his best cartoon voice. Jack was not amused and called out, "Yogi, come in here. Let's get started." Wheels' eyes were transfixed on the board, startled by Jack's graphic logic and colorful lines. "Now listen up," Jack started. "Here's the facts, the relationships, and the timeline of events. They all seem to evolve around one thing." He picked up the red marker and drew another circle around the previous circles. The bag. He turned and looked at Wheels. "I think it's time to find out why people are breaking into my house, why I'm being questioned by the police, and why my neighbor was beaten up by a motorcycle gang. It's my right to know, and we're not leaving here until I get answers. Let's start right here," he said, pointing to the bag on the board. The bag had connections to all. What was in that bag? Wheels looked at him and replied,
"Okay, you proved your point. You have a right to know, but..."
There was a long silence as they looked at each other, waiting for Wheels to tell what he knew. "The bag?" Jack reiterated. Wheels blurted out,
"Scratch tickets."
Yogi and Jack responded simultaneously. "Scratch tickets?" Jack shook his head as if to reboot his brain. "What do you mean, scratch tickets? Scratch tickets as in lottery scratch tickets?" Wheels nodded his head yes, as they stared in disbelief. "You mean I have a biker gang threatening my life? The police are trying to connect me to a murder. I'm losing sleep about whether I should have killed myself or not, and all because of some scratch-off lottery tickets? Is there something here I'm missing?"
"Yes,"
Wheels said.
"There's more to it than that. Billy begged me that night to let him use Yogi in his plan. He told me that the rolls of scratch tickets were stolen from a delivery truck that day. He explained that all lottery ticket serial numbers are entered into the computer system. The lotto people know where the tickets are delivered, and they know where the winners are before they're scratched off. If any tickets are stolen, they simply put the stolen serial numbers in the system, and that would void out any payments for someone trying to cash them in. Billy knew Yogi could hack into the computers and reactivate the stolen numbers, and Billy figured he would use his friends, scatter them around town, cash them in, and I told him to stay away from Yogi, and that's when Pesto pulled up. Billy said Pesto had tipped him off on the tickets delivery and was in for 25%, which, unfortunately, he wanted right then and there. Apparently, Billy had no intention of paying him anything, and that's when Billy went for his gun. After the first shot, I grabbed the bag and the gun that was on the seat and ran for my life."
Jack was shaking his head. "I don't believe it. They're just scratch tickets, for God's sake," Wheels added.
He's estimated between 60 and 100 grand of winning tickets in those rolls. That's not bad for a few days' work.
Jack looked back at his drawings on the board and tried to swallow all of that, but there were other things still confusing him. All right, let's put all of that aside for a minute. What is the DT's interest in all of this? He pointed to the board. How are they connected?
I'm not sure. I know Billy knew a lot of them. Maybe one or more of them were in on the heist with him. He never told me the whole story.
Okay. Jack changed the subject. So who was the burglar that broke into the house? He definitely was no biker. How is he related?
Don't know,
Wheels replied.
Maybe he was just a burglar.
This is bullshit. Jack looked back at the board. We're not getting anywhere. He was frustrated because drawing the entire picture like this always lent itself to possible solutions, no matter what the problem was. His focus went to the bag, circled in red. What did you do with the tickets? Where are they now?
I have them stashed away. I was debating whether to burn them, drop them off anonymously at Lotto headquarters, or at the police station. But I didn't want to hand them back to the police if some of them were in on this, like Luttrell and maybe others. So I decided to keep them until things cooled down a bit.
Jack complained. Things may have cooled down for you, but they're heating up for me. I want those tickets turned in immediately. I want to do it in a way so that everybody knows they were turned in and the bikers know and I don't have them anymore. I like your idea of turning them in anonymously, but we need to get the media in on it. We should call the local stations with an anonymous tip after we turn them into the Lotto headquarters. The TV news will give it full exposure. The Lotto people will have their tickets back, and the police will be held at a distance, watching from the outside. That's the best plan. Any objections? Good. Let's do it tomorrow afternoon. Friday morning seemed a little different, more relaxing with less pressure. Jack had a great night's sleep, and he needed it. It was essential to get out on his bike again and enjoy another ride through the mountains. He stuffed his bike bag with the usual goodies and rode off, seeking solitude. He took the back roads toward the Black Hawk casinos and figured he would do some gambling. He felt lucky today and free-spirited. A great weight was about to be lifted from his shoulders. The casinos in Black Hawk were a mix of old Western-style buildings along with the new glitzy Vegas designs that had been slowly taking over the town. He parked his motorcycle in the parking lot across the street from the train station casino. He noticed on the Harley next to him that there was a purse left on the seat. He knew he couldn't pick it up and go around asking people, "Is this yours?" So he decided to leave it where it was. He was concerned about leaving his helmet and bag on the bike, but remembered what Buzz had told him, that people don't mess with things left on a motorcycle, especially Harleys. Jack went inside and, feeling frisky, he pulled out a $20 bill and walked over to the 25-cent slots. He almost never gambled, but when he did, it was usually with the nickel machines. The money lasted longer that way. But today was different. He needed to celebrate his freedom. He found a machine that seemed to say, "Play me." In went the $20, and he pushed the Play Max button, 3 coins at a time. 20 minutes later, $60 to the plus side, he was done, and he decided to cash in his winnings for some crisp 20s. As he stood up, he noticed a man 4 machines down from him, staring at him and not paying attention to his own slot machine. The guy looked familiar, but he couldn't place him. The guy nodded at Jack and smiled, and Jack repaid the nod back, suspiciously, as he walked away. When Jack returned to his bike, not only was his helmet and backpack still there, but so was the purse on the other Harley. The bikes were parked near the sidewalk, where maybe 200 people had walked by since he went inside. His faith in humanity was starting to return. He sat on his bike, started it up, adjusted the straps of his helmet. Suddenly, a hand came from behind, grabbed his key, and turned off the motorcycle. It was the same guy who was staring at him inside the casino. He took Jack's key and put it in his pocket. Jack turned and yelled, "Hey, what are you doing? Give me that key." Another man tapped him on his shoulder, and he turned to see a badge in his face. "Jack Rigby, FBI. I'm Agent Patterson, and this is Agent Blythe. Can we have a few words with you, please?" Jack turned his head and stared straight ahead, ignoring both men on either side of him. His mind went blank. He felt that feeling in the pit of his stomach again, and he knew he was in deep trouble now. There was no way he could bluff his way out of this questioning like he did with the cop Luttrell. Are these guys really the FBI, or maybe another twist related to this ever-changing nightmare? He wanted this to come to an end. He was caught and ready to tell all he knew. Patterson extended his hand and waved his fingers, beckoning him. "Sir, could you come with us, please?" Jack nodded, put down his kickstand, removed his helmet, and left it on the bike seat. An SUV pulled up with darkened windows. They opened the side door and they all climbed in, and the vehicle left the parking lot. He blurted out, "So why is the FBI so interested in scratch-off lottery tickets? Don't you have more important things to worry about, like terrorists and stuff like that?" The agents looked at each other. Then Patterson nodded to Blythe, who stated, "We don't care about the tickets. If we get the bag back, we'll turn the tickets over to the local authorities. It's not what's in the bag, but rather what's hidden in the lining of the bag that we're interested in." Jack was confused, and he sat there trying to make sense of what they were saying. He looked at both agents while the driver with dark sunglasses appeared to be staring at him through the rearview mirror. Patterson pointed his finger at Jack. "We know you held a top-secret security clearance when you worked for Brookhaven, Oak Ridge, and the Patel Institute, so we know we can trust you to keep this to yourself." He now felt somewhat relieved that these were the real FBI, since they knew about his top-secret status where he worked for the government think tanks. Only the FBI would know about that. He also realized that his security clearance was higher than these guys, and probably higher than their boss, so he felt a small twinge of elite status. "What's in the lining of the bag?" he asked, with an educated look of concern. Blythe revealed, "A few months ago, there was an international incident and sent shockwaves through the intelligence community. We can't go into details, but to make a long story short, an agent was killed in Switzerland while working undercover for Interpol. His last email included an encrypted note hidden within the message. It was decoded after his death, 1 week before 9/11. He had successfully compiled a comprehensive directory that traced terrorist money through Swiss bank accounts to organizations right here in the U.S., as well as foreign countries." Jack's posture changed, and he brought his hand to his mustache and started stroking it while listening intently. Blythe continued, "The list was placed on microdots and hidden inside a bag. Your bag. Interpol tracked its path from Switzerland to Germany to Canada, and they were always one step behind, learning where it had recently been. The bag changed hands several times without anyone knowing the true treasure inside. We were assigned the case when the bag hit the U.S. soil. We identified an insurance salesman who bought the bag at a flea market in Canada. We found him at his hotel with a bullet in the back of his head." Jack guessed. "Terrorists?" "No. We traced the bullet to others on file. We knew it was related to several crimes in this area, with one common denominator: bikers. After we reviewed the cases, we narrowed it down to 2 bikers and started watching them. We knew about William Carver, a.k.a. Billy Boy, but found him too late. He was in a shootout with a bad cop, but there was no bag at the scene of the crime. We traced his every step that day and searched his house and other places. But again, no bag was found. We suspected the bag was with him the night he died. We have no clues as to where it went, but suspected an accomplice. We first had reason to believe it was Pesto's partner, Luttrell, but our sources confirmed he was looking for him himself, for different reasons. Then we stumbled upon some information that led us to you." Jack now knew more than he cared to. Patterson and Blythe watched Jack as he went into one of his trances, his eyes bouncing back and forth, staring into space. "Wheels has the bag, and he's going to turn it in today. This should be easy. Finally, an ending to this nightmare." Patterson interrupted him with, "Earth to Jack. Come in, Jack," as he was waving his hand in front of Jack's face. He popped his head up from his trance. "I know where the bag is. I can get it for you. But I want some kind of guarantee. Protection from Luttrell and the DTs," he demanded with authority. "DTs?" Patterson was confused. "Where'd you come up with that?" "The Devil's Thunder biker gang. They ride in this area. And if they had some kind of deal with Luttrell, then I need this thing to end right now, right here, with no more connection to me. I want a guarantee." Patterson smiled. "A guarantee, huh? Well, sure, Jack. We guarantee that if you don't get us that bag in the next hour, We'll have you up on charges for obstruction of justice, aiding and abetting, conspiracy to commit a felony, illegal possession of a weapon, fraud, accessory to murder, filing a false police report, filing false income taxes, conspiracy to commit computer and wire fraud, and conspiracy 5th degree. Let's see, that adds up to... He looked at Blythe. Blythe was pretending to count on his fingers. 127 years. Jack was steaming. They had played good cop, bad cop on him as if it was their final exam. For a moment, it seemed like he could trust them. Now it appeared different. They pulled back into the parking lot where they had started. Look, Jack, nothing against you personally. We need... Patterson paused and reset his posture. The president needs this information to help seize the terrorist bank accounts. We have already made great strides in doing this, but this list is more comprehensive than anything we've heard of so far. You owe it to your country. Jack took a deep breath and nodded in agreement. Meet me at my house in 2 hours. They looked at him and started to say something, but Jack spoke up. It'll take me at least an hour to get home. Meet me at my house. It's 1374... Patterson interrupted. Monarch Circle. We know, Jack. We were there Wednesday night. So you're the burglar, the guy who knocked us down? No, sir. You knocked me down. Aggravated assault on an FBI agent. We forgot to add that to the list. Oh, that's a big one. Hey, I didn't knock anybody. Patterson interrupted him and stated sternly. 2 hours, Jack. You have 2 hours from right now. They opened the SUV door and let him out. Once they left, he grabbed his phone and called Wheels.
Now what?
Wheels, it's me. You didn't turn those tickets in yet, did you?
Not yet. Why?
Listen carefully. Bring them to my house now and drop them off. Don't stick around after you drop them off. Just get the hell out of there. Wait. I have a better idea. Have Yogi meet you someplace away from my house and let him bring it home.
What's going on, Jack?
Wheels asked, now in a serious tone. I'll tell you more later. You'll have to trust me.
No, Jack, you'll have to trust me. I'll ask again. What's going on?
Jack was pissed and screamed into the phone. God damn it. Why can't you simply do this one thing without questioning me? That outburst created an eerie silence on the other end of the phone. Finally, Jack broke the quiet. Look, I promise I will tell you everything, but I can't right now. Wheels, this is serious. It's at a new level you can't even comprehend. Please, do me this one favor and get it to Yogi within the next 30 minutes. Please. I'll call you 2 hours from now. No, make that 2 hours and 15 minutes from now. Wheels gave in.
Okay, but I need you to tell me the truth. The whole truth.
I promise. An hour later, when he arrived home, Yogi was on the computer as usual. Jack stopped in the living room and looked around for the bag. Yogi pointed to the kitchen. It's in there. Jack ran to the kitchen and frantically looked in all directions. Where? Where the hell is it? On the table, in that bag. Yogi pointed. What are you, blind? That's not the bag. Yes, it is. No, it's not.
Ah!
He screamed as he picked up the phone and called Wheels.
Yeah?
The bag. Where's the fucking bag?
I gave it to Yogi. The scratch tickets are all there.
No. Where is the original bag? The one with the kangaroo on the side, riding the Harley. That's the bag I'm talking about.
Well, what's the big deal? You wanted the tickets. Now you got them. Ah!
Jack lost his patience and screamed into the phone.
Ah! Ah!
Yogi approached him to calm down. What's the matter, Jack? Jack, I'm talking to you. Jack was in a state of disbelief, and he had reached a new low point. All right. I give up. I can't get into any more trouble than I already am. Well, maybe I can, but now I need your help more than ever. Now listen to me, and don't interrupt. I have very little time left. Jack talked into the phone to Wheels, while Yogi stood by and listened. He reviewed the entire discussion with the FBI and left nothing out. He explained it was now a national security matter, and the president himself was monitoring the situation. The more he talked, the more Yogi's expression changed, deeper and deeper into a concerned state. When he finished his story, he was surprised at the silence that followed. He looked at Yogi, who was struggling with this new information, and then Jack spoke again to Wheels on the phone. Hello? Are you there?
The bag.
Wheels started slowly.
I gave the bag to Pinky. for his trip. He told me he was headed out west, doing Vegas, maybe Yosemite, and then on to Sturgis to meet us there.
Oh, shit, Jack said in disgust. He knew the game was back on, and he let out a big sigh. Wait, doesn't he have a Y-phone? Yes, Yogi replied, but he doesn't turn it on during his trips. He's off the grid. He likes his privacy. Well, I don't care how you do it. We must find him, Wheels expressed.
Well, we can't go driving around the United States hoping to find him. Why can't the FBI go looking for him?
Because it's my ass on the line. I'm the one facing 127 years in prison, and I told him I'd get it. Look, Wheels, I kept your ass out of prison. I'm only asking you to do the same for me, Wheels replied.
You got me there, partner. Okay, count me in. Tell the FBI the exact truth. But don't tell them you told us about all that secret stuff. I'll make a few phone calls, but I can only promise that we'll meet up with them in Sturgis. I'm going there anyway, so I can bring it back with me.
End. Chapter 10.